I'm Joyce Rupp. It's my pleasure to be the pre-conference speaker for the Brethren's Continuing Education event this coming July. I'm elated that I can focus on this topic of compassion. The topic has become central to my life. We not only live in a world of great hurt and woundedness, we also have our own personal suffering and difficulties that need our compassion. When I began teaching for the Institute of Compassionate Presence 8 years ago, I thought I knew what compassion was. I knew that it was the central quality of Jesus in the gospel, and I had an extensive experience of being a volunteer for hospice, as well as being a spiritual guide to many people who are in some form of suffering. What I was amazed to find out from my research and in-depth study of compassion is that there are so many facets and layers to it. I didn't realize how aware I needed to be of my thoughts and feelings, and to be in tune with my motivation for offering compassion, and aware of the shadow side of offering that gift. And I especially had not paid attention to how vital self-compassion is. Just the other day I found myself wondering how I was going to keep my balance when I faced a day of needing to extend compassion to a close friend whose terminal cancer is developing, and a lifelong friend whose severe physical debilitation still hasn't found a diagnosis, and a young man who's dear to my heart who had a second attempt to take his life, and a relative of mine whose marriage is very quickly disintegrating. These are the kinds of things that I know you face as a pastor, and also perhaps in your own personal life. I believe that our being together for the conference it'll help us to delve more deeply into compassion, and it'll give you some renewed insights and to give you strength in offering compassion and some practical ways to be more fully compassionate toward others and toward yourself as well. The author Christina Feldman writes in her book on compassion that we're always beginners in the art of compassion. That certainly is true for myself. Every single day I start over. Just when I think that I'm managing my judgmental thoughts, along comes someone who's hurting, and I find that I have some thoughts about that person that I wish were not there. And sometimes when I think that I'm finding a balance in my life, a phone call comes asking me to give away some of my precious planned time to a hurting person who's in need. So once again, I'd like to invite you to take part in the pre-conference event. I'm confident that you'll find it of value for your personal and your professional life. I'm definitely looking forward to being with you. I'd like to close now by reading a short piece from my book, The Cup of Our Life. It's from a chapter that's appropriately titled, The Cup of Compassion. I find great strength in knowing that I am connected to everyone and everything in my world because of the vibrancy of the divine presence dwelling in each of us, and because of the atoms that twirl and whirl in every piece of creation. All of life is a part of me, and I am a part of all of life. All people are my sisters and brothers. In each one, I recognize the face of the divine presence looking back at me. The God of compassion has shown me a loving face. Now I am to be that reflection in return. I am to be the presence of God to another. When I offer the cup of compassion to someone, it is God in me reaching to God in another. There is a oneness of love bonding us to all of life.